Hello, everyone. Can someone let me know if they can hear me? I'm trying to enable the chat, but for some reason it's disabled. It must be in the settings. But if someone could let me know in the Q&A box if they can hear me, that would be brilliant. Brilliant. Thank you. Thanks, Karen. Brilliant. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Great. Okay. Why don't we get started? I like to start things on time. Let's just get going here. Let me get my slides up. Okay. So I will share my screen in a minute. I'm not sharing it now, am I? No. Okay. So welcome, everyone. Welcome to today's session on Reset Your Consulting Career. I want to take you through a proven framework that I use with my clients to decide what's next. For anyone who hasn't met me, I'm Negar. I am ex-Accenture. I was a leader there. I'm a mentor and a consultant. I still work as a consultant on a part-time basis. I'm an executive coach. And I also host a podcast called The Consulting Game. If you haven't checked it out, it is worth checking out. So this webinar is for consulting leaders who feel like something is missing in their career. You're not burned out, but you just feel something's off. You're successful on paper, but inside something feels disconnected. And the word that I keep hearing from my clients is there's no meaning in my work. Purpose and meaning comes up a lot. And today I'm going to walk you through the process that helps you move from dissatisfaction, lack of meaning, into more confident, purpose-driven, intentional careers. So that's a mouthful, but I'm going to go through that framework with you. I'm going to show you how to break out of career limbo and make a confident next move, okay? Without needing a 5-year plan or quitting your job overnight. So let me just start there and share my screen with you and we'll get started. Okay, I just want to make sure the chat, okay, perfect. There we go. Everyone can see my screen. So this is what we're going to go through today. As I mentioned, I'm going to show you how to break out of this career limbo that you're in, this feeling that something's off, and make that confident next move. And I hear you thinking, how is she going to do that? But I'll show you. You don't need a 5-year plan. You don't need to quit your job, okay? Now, I want to just do a quick introduction very quickly because I really don't talking about myself, but I think this is relevant. So I'm going to make it relevant to what we're doing today. I worked at Accenture. I worked in a corporate career for over 20 years. And those of you who know me, I mean, there's a lot of my clients here. There's a lot of my past colleagues here. And I worked in Accenture. I started in IT and consulting. I moved into change management and more into obviously client change management, transformation programs, behavioral change, all of that stuff. As I was over the last 7 years, and I'll give you a timeline, I was quite in Accenture. I learned a lot, but it brought up all my anxiety. Okay. And I don't know if this resonates with some of you, but consulting, I feel, brings up all of your insecurities. And for me, that transpired and what that looked like was anxiety all the time, right? Now, about 7 years ago, after I had my second child, I returned to work. This is pre-COVID. I was commuting, I think 3-4 hours a day, depending on how much traffic was there. And it was a really busy period in my life. I was always client facing. So I was commuting to the client office, 2 kids at home, juggling everything. And my anxiety came to a head and I got a coach. Now she helped me with my anxiety and all of that. And that was brilliant. I found that really helpful. But something was still off. So there was a bit more calm in my life in terms of the anxiety had gone. I'd managed that. I'd gotten on top of my work. I was doing really well. But something was still off. Now, and I want to say this because I think this will resonate with some of you, because I had the title, I was on track for promotion. I had interesting, varied work. We never get bored in consulting. I was doing a really good job, right? And I knew I was doing a good job, but just something wasn't right. And I couldn't explain it and I couldn't put my finger on it. Now, I was still working with this particular coach at the time. I couldn't quit work, right? I didn't want to quit work and I couldn't quit work because we were building a house, etc. So there was multiple factors there. And I wasn't ready to say goodbye to everything I'd built. So this coach helped me. And I didn't really know where she was going with all of this, but we started to build a plan together. We started to build a vision for what I could have. She started to work on meaning and purpose with me. So this was all stuff I was doing on the side with her. 1 hour a week, we were just chipping away at this stuff and she was helping me with this. And that's what really changed everything. And that's what led me to the work I do today. I really didn't know what I wanted, but I knew I wanted something else. And what she helped me with, I remember, I still have the notes and I go back to them. And I remember my 5-year plan was I want to be known for something in 2 years. It was very high level. So I started to experiment and I started to make little tweaks and changes. This is a bit embarrassing, but I just wanted to show you the middle of my story. These images are taken from my LinkedIn when I was still at Accenture. What she helped me do is to test and learn. And a lot of you, I'm sure, have worked on agile projects where you're testing and learning all the time, right? But that's what I started to do with my career and my life. I want to be known for something. I found my purpose. My purpose at the time was I want to help people. I know that sounds ridiculously broad now. It's more refined now, but the way in which I was doing that in Accenture was I was helping to deliver transformation programs and I was helping to lead the change and culture side of that. And I wanted to create an amazing experience for people. And I dialed up that purpose in the workplace. I lived it every day. And that helped me feel like I had more meaning and purpose in work. Then I started to experiment. I was like, I don't think this change management thing is what I want. I want to do something else. I got qualified as a coach, etc. And I'll show you that on the next slide. But I started experimenting. And if you look at this, now I have here that I was in Accenture until July 2023. But you see that I started my business in July 2022. I actually started experimenting a year before that. But I started posting on LinkedIn. Didn't have a clue what I was doing. I was doing these really long videos that no one was watching. But I started experimenting, and this is the work I did with her. And this is what's going to come to life in this session for you guys as well. And I started going down a path and figuring it out, getting clarity. And ultimately, I did leave Accenture in July 2023, and I started. So this is what it looked like. I started working with a coach in 2017. I figured out what I wanted. I wanted meaningful, purposeful work. And I dialed that up in my role in Accenture. I was able to dial that up with her help. I didn't know you could do that. I started living into that every day, being really intentional about bringing that purpose to life. I then decided to become certified as a change practitioner. And the reason for that was I still didn't know that I wanted to do something around coaching. Okay. But I love change management. I love the behavior change. I love taking organizations on a change journey. I love the neuroscience behind it. So I did a change management certification in 2018. Then I tested a bit more. Okay. So I experimented a bit more. I got some more skills. I love neuroscience. And I was like, maybe this coaching thing is interesting. So I did coaching with neuroscience. Love that. And then I was coaching all my team. Okay. So then I became a leader who coaches. Then I became a master coach. And then it was at that point that I started my business around July 2022. Now, it was actually a year before that I was obviously doing the courses, etc. But around July 2022, I committed to doing 4 hours a week in my business. I started the business officially. I registered the name. I opened my Instagram page. I opened my LinkedIn. I started posting online. It was messy. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress, right? And that's what I wanted. And it was that messiness and that taking action and progress over perfection that brought me to clarity. That brought me to the point where in July 2023, I had got my business to a certain point that I actually went full time into it. And I think that story is relevant, right? And you'll see why when I go through these frameworks, because it's a similar, now it took me 7 years. Is it 7 years? No, 6 years to actually leave my job, right? It shouldn't take you that long. And not all of you want to leave your job, but you want to get clarity. You want to get out of this crossroad. You want to stop this feeling of something feels off. And this is the process I went through, right? Now I've refined this over the years because I've helped other people do it. And that's what I'm going to take you through today. Okay. Let's move on. This is an important slide, everyone. Please listen. Quick housekeeping. We're going to be together for another 50 minutes, okay? Grab a notebook, close Teams, close your email, silence the distractions, put that phone away. This is important. This is an important hour to give to yourself. Be respectful of your time and really invest time in here. There's a reason why you signed up to this webinar. So I want you to get as much value as you can out of it. Okay, what we're going to do next, and I'm going to do a quick check of the Q&A. If you want to talk to me, just pop something into the Q&A because for some reason the chat is disabled. I did that for one webinar and now it's stuck for every webinar. Okay, still sharing, everything's good. Okay, we're going to do a little quiz because I want to show you the signs that you're at a crossroads. And I think this is important because it'll give you that self-reflection, but also a lot of you, most of you are leaders. So these signs you will notice in your team members as well. Okay. Because I do this work for corporates as well. So this is some of the techniques I use when we're surveying people to see if people are disconnected from their work. So these are the 5 signs. So I want you to get a pen and paper out. Just grab a pen and paper because you need to keep track of your answers because I'm going to give you a score at the end. So everyone's got a pen and paper. Okay. So the first question is, how do you feel after a professional win? Do you feel energized and proud of yourself? Is it just neutral? It's just another task done? Or do you feel dread because it means more of the same? And that last one used to come up a lot for me when we used to win tenders. I just think, oh my God, this is going to be more work. So how do you feel after a professional win? Is it A, B, or C? So jot down A, B, or C in your notebook. The next question is, I'll let you read that. How connected do you feel to your day-to-day work? Is it A, it still excites me and feels meaningful? B, I'm competent at it, but not emotionally invested? And C, I often feel like I'm just going through the motions. So A, B, or C, just jot that down for yourself. Okay, the third question is, how does Sunday evening feel for you? Okay, now usually everyone has the usual blues. Okay, so A is the usual blues, but I feel okay about the week ahead. B is heavy. I start bracing myself at the workload. And C is you're anxious or resentful. You feel tightness in your chest or your body and you just can't shake it. So is it A, B, or C? Just jot that down. Question 4. When you think about your career trajectory, is it A, I feel clear and aligned with where I'm headed? B, I'm unsure. It feels like I'm coasting. C, I wonder if I'm climbing the wrong ladder. This also comes up as when I look up, it's not what I want. I've heard that my clients say that a lot, and that certainly was true for me. A, B, or C? Okay. And our last one is, how often do you catch yourself whispering, what if, about a different path? Okay. So A, rarely. My current path still feels right. Or B, occasionally I toy with the idea. Or is it C, frequently? It feels like something is calling me elsewhere. So A, B, or C? And look, the language might be different for you, but choose the one that feels most aligned. Now, this is what I want you to do next. For every A that you put down, give yourself 0 points. For every B that you put down, give yourself 1 point. And for every C you put down, give yourself 2 points. Okay, I'll give you a second to jot that down and then go to the Q&A and tell me what's the cumulative figure that you're getting. Six sevens, 6, 4, 6, 1. 1! Anonymous attendee, what are you doing here? You're in a good place. 7s, 9s, 5, 3s, 9s. Okay. Oh, how much for B? 1 for B. So 0 for A, 1 for B, and 2 for C. 5.5. I don't know how you manage that, but I love it. 3.5. Okay. Okay, great. Okay. So if you're scoring a 0 to 2, and I see a lot of 3s there, if you're scoring a 0 to 2, or even a 3, you're doing pretty well. You're probably just tired. You're not misaligned. You're probably going in the right direction. You're in a season of alignment and things are probably okay. What I want you to do is just stay curious, continue to check in with yourself. You know, what feels good right now might evolve in the future, but you're in a good place. 0 to 2, you're aligned. Now, there is a lot of 3s there, right? Now, 3 is you're having a wobble. 3 to 6, you're having a wobble. Something's shifting. You may not need a dramatic change, but it's time to potentially pause and reflect and realign before proper misalignment and dissatisfaction and disconnection deepens. And then the third, oh, sorry, this is 3 to 6. This is just what I went through. You're on edge. You're having a wobble. Then 7 to 10 is the highest score that you can get. You're at a real crossroads here. Okay, it is time for a reset. Your work no longer fits the version of you that you've become. It's not a breakdown, it's just a signal. It's just a sign that you need to reset with some intention around your career. This is really good to know. Okay, and I'm just going to bring it back because I know I have a lot of leaders on the team who've got massive, big teams behind them. This is important for you, but it's important for your team as well. If your team is feeling this way, if they're at a wobble or at a crossroads, I think it's the crossroads I'd be worried about. And if they're not connected to their work, they're probably not doing their best work. It's something to be assessed, right? Now, you guys are doing this on this call, so that's good. But a lot of people in corporate are at this stage. And we never, in organizations, we don't address this. We give people another resilience program, another leadership program. We don't talk about meaning and purpose and being at a real crossroads. Okay. Thanks for doing that, everyone. Let me just check in with the chat, make sure there's nothing else. 2.5. Oh my God, I love it. Okay. If you're 2 or below, you could probably save yourself some time here. Okay. Now, you're in the right place. If you're, multiple screens here. You are in the right place if you're tired of hoping it'll get better. You're in the right place if you want meaning in your work. A lot of you want meaning in your work. You are in the right place if you're motivated to make a change. And you're in the right place if you're curious about solutions. Now, in the chat, I would love to hear from you. If you could tell me which one you are. Are you tired of hoping it'll get better? Do you want meaning in your work? You're motivated to make a change right now? Or you're curious about solutions? Tell me in the comments, 1, 2, 3, or 4, especially the people who've got a 1 or a 2. I'd love to hear where you're at. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of 4s. some ones, 1 and 3, hope and motivated. The hope one comes up a lot actually here, and a lot of 4s. Okay. Got some curious people here, and you want meaning. Okay, it's across the board. I keep having to open the chat on a different screen. That's why it takes me a minute. Okay, whatever your motivation, I'm going to support you in this session. I'm here for you, my friends. If you're anything like me, you like to know where you're going on these calls. So here it is. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through the reset framework. Now, we're not going to have time to go through absolutely everything, but I've picked out 3 main parts and 3 main areas in those parts that I feel will really help you guys who are having a wobble, who are on the edge, who are at a crossroads. I'm going to then talk about how you can work with me, and then we're going to jump into a live Q&A. So let's jump in. Oh, before we do, sorry, I didn't realize I had this slide in. I want you to know, this is important actually. I want you to know you do not have to have this, you don't have to quit, and you don't have to have it all figured out. You just need a clear process to understand what's not working. And I know this word confidently, probably you're like, how can I confidently create the next step? But I'm going to show you. So this is the reset framework that I want to take you through. Reflect, envision, simplify and select, experiment, take action, self-coach and self-lead to sustain. Okay. These are the steps that I have found to work really well. Now, I didn't get all of these from my coach, right? I cobbled this together. But as I've been doing this work over the last few years, 3 years, nearly 3 years now, this is what's working really well. Now, the last one, self-coach and self-lead to sustain. Although I have that at the end, this is a golden thread that runs through the whole thing. I have a simple framework on how to self-coach. I talk about it on my podcast. This is something that I have used for years now. It's incredible. It's a really simple tool. It's based on neuroscience. It's not something I've made up as a consultant or a coach. It's actually psychology. But that one runs through the whole thing. Now, I won't have time to go through that in detail, but if you're interested, there are 2 podcasts on this, and I should have got the numbers of those podcasts, but I don't. It's something around create the results that you want, but that goes through the framework of those at a high level. So reflect, envision, simplify and select, experiment and take action. The ones that we're going to delve into today are reflect, envision, and experiment, because I feel these are the ones that are going to serve you the best. I use this with my private clients. It's how we move from indecision, that looping, that swirling, am I going down the right direction, to leading your next chapter, and having some intention around your career rather than just going along with it. That feeling you're just going along with it. But the most important thing about this is, and the difference between me and a lot of the other coaches, mentors, consultants, trainers out there, is that you take action, you experiment, you test and learn with this method. And you don't take any drastic moves like burying down your career, quitting, handing in your notice until you're very confident and you've experimented enough and you've collected enough data that you can move on. Just like I told you from my story, and this is what I do with my clients, right? We experiment and take action to the point where you actually know that this is the right next move. I want to say something here, and I didn't have this in my notes, but the problem with a lot of solutions out there is that people think that they're just going to get clarity, and the solutions tell you that you're just going to get clarity by just talking to someone about it, making notes, journaling. And that's all really important stuff, right? But if you don't move and take action, you're not going to get the clarity that you need, because you're not going to have the data. Think about consulting. Think about how we do our work. That data is gold, right? That helps us course correct when we need to. And you can't confidently move forward without checking back in with that data. Okay, I'll stop there. Now, I'll go through these at a high level, right? And then we'll delve into these three. But reflecting is all about understanding what's not working and refining what success means to you now. Not when you were 20 and you thought getting to CEO was the answer, what it actually means to you now. So you ask yourself questions like, where am I now? What actually matters to me? What's not working? What does success look like? What does success feel like? That's the reflect piece. And I know from working with clients, they don't want to do this bit. They just want to go to selecting a direction, experimenting and taking action. But I am telling you, my friends, this piece is really important. Envision is all about imagining future possibilities. We somehow forget to do that as we get older, right? We become very past focused. When we're younger, we look forward to the future. I don't know, when you get into your first 40s, you become more past focused. Whereas you notice when you were in your 20s, you're thinking about your next career move, the next skill you want to build, potentially going traveling, having babies or getting married, or it's very future focused, buying a house. It's always that next step. But as we get older, we become very past focused. So this is a bit of a hard shift for a lot of my clients to start imagining different futures for themselves. We look at purpose, right? Purpose sounds so fluffy, but actually I'll take you through it in a minute. We explore what your desires are and what drives you, right? And what drains you. We ask questions like, what could life and work look like if it felt right again? We reconnect with your values and those future possibilities. Simplify and select. We cut through the noise here, right? Because it's great to have all this blue sky thinking, but we do need to cut through the noise, clarify decisions, choose a direction so that we can start experimenting. I'm just going to check in with my sound just to make sure everything is good. Yeah. At what age are you too old to reset? Oh my God, that's such a good question. You know what my answer is going to be to that. You are never too old to reset. I do have a story on this, but I'll get emotional about it, so I'll come back to it. Okay, where was I? So, experiment. Experimentation is one of the key differences between what I do and what other people do. We're going to fuel this change through momentum. We're going to build I call it a 30, 60, 90-day plan. It's something we used to do when I was in my consulting days, and I still use it. We're going to build that plan. It's going to be low stake tests, and we're going to realign habits, right? But this is all about experimentation, and we're going to learn from the data. We're going to test the ideas in real life. So we turn those experiments and we start to take action, right? We start to collect that data, understand if it's the right move, course correct it as needed. And then the taking action is where we've experimented enough to know, okay, directionally, this is where I need to go. Okay. Now, when I say directionally, very intentionally, right? Because you are never going to get certainty. You're never going to get Negar. Coaching is where you need to go. I am still directionally correct. I am still not 100% if this is a coaching business or consulting business, as you can see, but I know I'm going in the right direction. And every webinar I do, every workshop I run, every consulting engagement I follow through on, I gather more data and I focus myself and refine my business even further. This is really important. And this is what builds momentum for you. And this is what starts to build commitment to your new path. This is where you get that confidence to make the pivot that you need to. Now, for some of you, it's not a pivot. I work with clients who make small adjustments to the jobs that they're doing within their organization. It doesn't have to be a big change. For me, it was, but for some of you, it doesn't need to be. But you know that you're directionally correct and you start to commit to that path. And then I spoke about the self-coach and self-lead. One is so important, right? I'm just going to spend one more minute on this. But this is where you learn how to self-coach. You get through any challenge, right? And I don't say that lightly. If you look at all of my posts from 2022, when I was experimenting, this is what I talk about. I teach people how to self-coach because it had such a big impact on my life, right? And I've got podcast episodes on it. But there is a tool that you can use that where you can coach yourself through any challenge. You maintain alignment and you lead your career and your life with intention with this tool. Okay. So this alone is gold, never mind everything else. Okay. Let's move on to reflect. Let me just check in with the chat again and make sure. Okay, perfect. So let's go to reflect. The first step in any change, if any of you have done change management or had change management on your programs, the first step in any change is awareness. And if you don't reflect, you will never get aware. Okay, so this reflection piece is important. And it's the one piece that all my clients want to skip. They're just like, no, let's get to the exciting stuff where I'm creating new paths and I just quit my job. But that's not the right solution. Okay, so we reflect. We get really honest about what's no longer working. Until we acknowledge this, we can't change it. And I see a lot of people not doing this work, just going to another job. And a year later, they find themselves in the same position. They're not happy. They're disconnected from their work. They don't have meaning. And the move just meant nothing, right? So you have to acknowledge what's not working so that you can start to change it. Is it fear of doing something new? Is there a reason why you haven't made a change? Is it just overwhelm? Is it anxiety? Is it time? Have you just got way too much? What are the things that are not working? The only option isn't to leave. You don't need to make a decision here. You just need to start telling yourself the truth. Somewhere along the line, we forget to reflect and course correct. And we do this for our clients all the time. Any of you running a transformation program or any sort of program or project know that, what's it called in Agile? It's not reflection. Retrospective. After every sprint, you do a retrospective. And then you take a couple of things and you bring that into the following sprint. So we have to know what's not working. In this phase, we start identifying the areas that will also calm the storm. This is really important, right? What I've found with clients, we need to figure out what's going on right now, what's not working, what's causing all the issues. But I find with a lot of clients, they're in a storm, right? So then I'm trying to get them to find their purpose and envision a future, and they're just trying to survive, right? So calming the storm here looks different for every client. For some clients, it's helping them with their time. So I have a whole portal of training. They're very short, bite size, very focused on the corporate world and in particular consulting. I've one around time management. It's called Monday Hour One. And it's one that I used when I was in the corporate world and a lot of other people use it. But for some clients, that's where we need to start, right? We need to just get a hold on their working week so that they can create space to think and to do this work. For other clients, it might be around meaning and purpose, etc. So that we calm the storm, right? And for a lot of clients, it's anxiety. Anxiety comes up a lot in consulting. I wasn't alone in that journey. So we identify and return to some sort of calm, okay, before we can create the future. It's really hard to make intelligent, intentional decisions when there's a lot of negativity and emotion there. We then move on to defining success. Okay, redefining success. This one is big because most of us are still chasing a version of success we set years ago, right? We don't even know it's there. We're all chasing the next promotion and then we're like, hang on a sec, we look up and it's not what we want. Your definition of success has changed, my friend. So we really have to get deep on this one. And this is work you can do yourself. And what if success now isn't about the next title or more money? Maybe it's about flexibility and calm and meaning and purpose. Maybe it looks slightly different. Now, if it's about money and success and the title, that's cool too, right? But you just have to get really clear and really truthful with yourself what that is. You have permission to evolve, and this step helps you own that unapologetically. If making more money is what success is to you now, or if having more flexibility and headspace is what success is to you right now, you have permission to articulate that. So I really want you to maybe after this call or at the weekend, just have a think about this one. Define what success means to you now. Many of us are still chasing the metrics that no longer fit: title, salary, being fast paced, working really hard. And sometimes that's just not the case anymore. This step isn't about throwing anything away, okay? It's about reconnecting with what really matters to you now and making space so that we can guide it in the next pieces. Now, the next one I want to get into is an envision. Envision is, once you've understood what the issues are, redefine success and calm the storm, which is what we did in the first piece, you can begin to envision what's possible, right? You have the headspace, you have the clarity to do that. You reconnect with what the future could look like, or connect with what the future could look like. Not the perfect 5-year plan. As I said, I did not have the perfect plan. I just wanted to help people and I wanted to be known for something. That's what my 5-year plan looked like. But just some sort of direction, right? And you can do this yourself in terms of envisioning what that future could look like. You're reconnecting with possibility. We imagine what your life, career, energy, every day could look like if it was aligned to your new definition of success. You don't need concrete outcomes here. You just need a horizon, right? It's that visioning piece of a program. That first we look at what's happening at the moment, and then we define the vision. What is that vision? What are we aiming for here? So this is the main piece of this section. But what comes up a lot here, I'm just going to take a drink of water, one sec, is purpose. And when I say this, I know a lot of you might be rolling your eyes going, Negar, that's so fluffy. It's not fluffy. It's so important to identify this for yourself and what you value before you move on. This is a framework I use, and it brings a bit of process and science to it. I have very different beliefs about purpose than other people, but I don't believe that we're all given one purpose. I believe that you can use these 3 circles to find your sweet spot, to find where you light up and where your passions and what you're good at and what the impact you can make. When they all come together, you can create a purpose and go after it. That's what I did. I wasn't given a purpose to coach people. I just decided that actually I want to coach people. I want to take organizations on a journey. I want to train people. I decided what my purpose was. And that's what you can do for yourself. So this comes up a lot. But quickly, what this sweet spot framework is, we identify your strengths, your superpowers. So these are like your talents, your skills, the things that you really excel at. So these are hard skills, but they also include, I hate saying the word soft skills, but the essential skills like listening, dependable, empathy, communication. All of those skills come into this. And then we talk about your passion. What are you passionate about? Now, I'm passionate about cooking, right? But I don't want to make a living out of it. So you can be passionate about many things, but that's not the impact you want to have in the world. So identifying what all your passions are and then picking out the ones that you want to use to have an impact in your organization or in your work, in a business, whatever that might be, is really important. And then the desired organizational impacts, right? Or desired impacts. I do a lot of this work within organizations. So where we define people's purpose and we connect it to their work. So that's why I have organizational impacts. But depending on the client I'm working with, this is desired impacts. What impact do you want to have on the world? What positive impact? What positive change do you want to make? We bring all that together into a purpose. Now, I've gone a little bit deeper into that than I wanted to, but this comes up a lot, so I wanted to mention it. We also, another thing that comes up, and I'm just going to go through this quickly, is, as I said before, it's not always about pivoting your career in a completely different direction, exploring a whole new company or new area, launching a business. There are a lot of career paths in organizations that I explore with my clients, right? Especially if they want to stay, they want to dial up the purpose, they want to keep going where they are, but they want more meaning and purpose and less disconnection to their work. These are actually different career paths that you can have. We all know about this traditional one, but there's lateral moves, strategic reset, expert value creator. Now, I'm not going to go into these, but I just want you to know that within the organization that you're in, there are different paths. And so it's not always just about leaving. I'm going to whiz through this one and we're going to go into experimentation. Now, small steps, big clarity. You get so much clarity from just experimenting. And this is what's key in my, I suppose, reset framework. Sorry, I'm trying to do two things at once. I was just keeping an eye on the chat. This step is about discovery. It's for everyone who's still unsure and still gathering data. I like all my clients to go through this experiment phase, even if they're 70, 80% sure of the direction they want to go in. We go through this experiment stage to make sure. We may only spend a week in here, but that's okay. You're gathering data, you're still gathering data, and you need to build that trust that the move that you're going to commit to is safe. Okay, it's the one that you want. So this experimentation phase is the safe environment, and the moves that you make, the experiments that you make are reversible, right? So you're not setting up a business and going out onto LinkedIn while you still have a job, all of that. So think about this. You might set up a coffee chat with someone in a different role to get more information. You might do some courses, you might build skills, you might take on a +1. A lot of you in consulting will be familiar with the extra work that we do called +1 that's aligned to where you want to go, right? So you might start doing little mini experiments like that. For me, it was really moving my career into change management, and it was doing my change management practitioner course and then my 3 certifications as well. So for me, that was the experimentation phase. And it was only when I was sure that this was directionally correct that I actually went to HR, and I got approval from HR in 2022 because I knew I was still in Accenture and I didn't want to leave. I got approval to start my business, but then I went into the take action, which is the next step. Okay. But I did not do that until I ran enough experiments to be sure that this is what I wanted. You don't need to commit here. You're just experimenting. You're just testing. It's emotionally safe, and you'll get loads more clarity through being curious and testing. That data that you get back, oh, that was really bad, didn't like that, I don't want to do that role, that's free consulting. Okay? This is going to build proof and evidence for you and give you that confidence to move into the take action step. So experimenting helps you test possibilities in a low pressure, low stakes, safe environment. But at some point, you reach a moment, like I did, where experimenting turns into, I'm going to commit. A small, brave commitment to move forward, like asking HR for approval to start my business on the side. Okay? That's the take action step. We're not going to go into that today, but that's where we go to. That's how, when I said you confidently move into the next chapter, that's why you move confidently into that, because you've done the experimentation. Now, imagine, right, if you had tested and proved your next chapter before you took any sort of leap, how would you feel? Like, you'd feel confident. You'd feel like you had evidence. Clarity doesn't come from before movement. Clarity does not come before movement. It comes because of movement. And I use an analogy of a fog, right? If there's a fog, it's hard to see in front of you. But as you start driving, you see a little bit more. You see a little bit more. That's what clarity is, right? You have to drive. You have to take action so that the road starts to become clear for you. As I said before, you don't need to quit or have it all figured out. You just need a clear process, like something like reset, to understand what's not working and confidently create the next step. A big mistake that I see a lot of people make, and I just want you to be aware of it, is they stay stuck hoping things will just magically get better, that clarity will just show up. Or they quit their job and jump into something without knowing what they actually want. And what happens, as I said, is a year later, they're in the exact same position. I want to do a really quick exercise because I can see the time is running away with us. But this is really good. Someone did this with me and it just had such a big impact on me. I want you, as cheesy as this sounds, just close your eyes for a moment, right? I can't see any of you. Just close your eyes for a second and just listen to me. I want you to imagine just 6 weeks from now, okay? Just 6 weeks from now, you've figured out what you want, what success feels like to you. You've made some tweaks to your current situation to make things a little bit easier in the short term. And you have a direction you would like to go. You've started to explore a new area of interest or search for an internal role in an area that you're interested in, or you're doing a course to build a new skill. And you're starting to get excited, right? You're starting to get excited again about your career and what the next chapter could be. You're feeling hopeful about your career again. Now I want you to imagine just 3 months from now, you've got a clearer picture of where you want to go and you've ran some tests and you've built some evidence, you've got some data. And in that moment, you begin to feel that spark of confidence, that hope, that clarity. That's a feeling that you haven't felt in a long time. As you work on your new direction in a bigger way, you think to yourself, this just might be the exact direction I was meant to be on all along. Something feels different as you imagine this. I want you to notice how you feel. I want you to notice how it feels to show up for yourself, how it feels to have a career that you're actually excited about again. This is really happening. You may think to yourself, I haven't been this excited about my career in a long time. Now, I want you to imagine 12 months from now. Not only have you created a career that's meaningful to you, you've done it without sacrificing your success to date, your finances, without burning it all down and just quitting one day. You've finally created a career, the freedom, the impact you've always wanted. In that moment, you ask yourself, how did I get here? How did this happen? And then you realize a year ago, today, you made the decision to go all in. A year ago, you bet on yourself. You did not listen to your fear. You listened to that faint voice that said, just give it a try. You didn't listen to your old story. You bet on yourself and created a new story, one where you could not lose. The only question now, are you committed to becoming this new version of yourself, the decision maker, someone who does not sit on the sidelines anymore? Because if you are, the only thing that's missing now is the how, the strategies, the roadmap to get you there. All you need now are the steps and the guidance to show you how to get started so that you can create a career that you've wanted. All you have to do now is bet on yourself. Now, open your eyes, right? I love that exercise. Let me see if anything is popping through on the chat. I think you're all still asleep, are you? Oh, I'm glad you like that. Okay. So I want you to think about this as that moment, right? Do you see that when you focus on action and movement, rather than having all of the answers, and you have a path, right? And I've given you some of that path, and you start building it, you can create a career that's more enjoyable, meaningful, and aligned to what you want. You just have to be really intentional about it. Now, I'm going to virtually hold your hand. Would you let me virtually hold your hand through the next step so that you can create that career intentionally? I use the word intentionally a lot because you don't just get clarity, you have to be really intentional about it. So I want to help you start creating what you just imagined there, that feeling that you just imagined there. Because that's exactly why I built and created the Reset Game Plan. And I want to invite you to join me. This is a free 60-minute strategy session with me. And in that strategy session, what I'm going to give you is the next step. Okay. And I only want this for people who are really done spiraling, swirling, and they just want to, they're motivated to figure this out. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to go deeper into your specific situation. We're going to look at what's working, what's not. We're going to get clear on your goals, your long-term vision. We're going to identify the real blocks keeping you stuck. And I'll help you with all of this. And you're going to walk away with the next steps. Now, we're going to do this for 45 minutes to 50 minutes. And then if there is a fit and you're eligible, I will invite you to the reset program. Now, this reset program is the full program. It's 6 months. We work together, etc. But not everyone is the right fit for that. It's not right for everyone. So we work together in that 60 minutes, 45 to 50 minutes, and you'll still walk away with that next step. You'll still walk away with, I suppose, a vision of what you want, anything that's keeping you stuck. And then you can go away and work on that. And then I will ask you, if I feel you're fit, I will ask you, do you want to know about the program? And I'll tell you a little bit more about it. So that's what the game plan session is about. You'll get immense value out of that session. Okay. You showed up because, sorry, one sec. This session is very tailored to you. I went through these slides before. I'm conscious of time, so I just ran through this bit, but I am opening up my diary. I've opened it up for a month. A lot of the slots are actually gone because I have a VIP group that I've opened this to, but I have opened up more sessions. You'll see I've actually opened up a couple of weekends as well. This isn't one of those endless offers. There's 20 places. Once they get booked, I'll close my diary. Okay. If you've been nodding along this whole way, I want you to scan that QR code and apply. And let's build that roadmap together. And if you're fit, I'll tell you about the bigger program. There's no cost to this. It's completely free. And there is a cost, though, to staying stuck. There is a cost to indecision. And sometimes we don't consider that. Okay. Now, I appreciate that a lot of you are probably on your phones and probably you can't scan that, and I can't share it with you because I don't have access to the chat, but I will email this out later. If you do want a slot, please go ahead and book that session in now. Okay. Now, is there any questions? I'm going to stay on for a little bit and I'm just going to make sure my screen is unshared. Yes. Okay. You can see me now. So are there any questions coming up? Let me open the chat. God, there's a lot of, hold on, let me think. Oh, thanks so much, Anonymous. I'm glad you enjoyed that. No problem. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I'm on my phone, so I can't access it. Don't worry. I'm going to send all this out. Okay. Any other questions? What if I don't know what I want? Can I still apply for the call? Yes. Most of my clients don't actually know what they want. Come to me with the questions, not the answers. I'll make sure. And I did want to go back to that question earlier that someone had. Is it ever too late? No. And the reason I say that is, and the reason I get emotional is, I've seen people do this at all ages with clients and everything. But the one that gets me emotional is my mum. My mum did this. She's 63 and she's just got another promotion with the HSE and she's actually at an award ceremony tonight. It's never too late, especially if you're going after your passion. Okay. I'm going to leave you there because I'll have a few tears after this. Thank you all so much for being a wonderful audience. And I'll be in touch on email and I'll send the link out. Okay. Get your slots into the diary. Thanks, everyone. Bye.